we get talking on various topics. But this morning, the dynamics is going to change a bit. Everything will still come as promised. Firstly, we have a guest that we will speak to. After that, we take the papers, and then the conversation and the program will continue from there. It's Morning Spring. It is and I. Good morning. We'll be back. All right, and at this time we will be talking about petrol and the PMS and some of the issues around it. At this time, we will be speaking to a very critical stakeholder that will be joining us on this matter to really be a part of this program. And we have with us at this time Dr. Billy Gills Harry. He's the PETROAN National President. By the way, PETROAN is the Petroleum Product Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria. Once again, Petroleum Product Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, PETROAN. Dr. Billy Gills Harry. Good morning. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
All right. It's good to have you. How was your night?
It was okay. I had a good night, and I'm alive and awake. I'm ready to serve Nigeria.
Yeah, that is very, very important, being alive. Very quickly, there is definitely, we are talking about the oil sector, and we learned there was a statement attributed to PETROAN over the diversion of crude oil, 500,000 barrels per day that are meant for local refineries. That allegation has been attributed to you, and that you allege that our producers are diverting the daily 500,000 barrels of crude oil meant for local refineries. That you said that even while you are commending the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission for banning the export of crude oil allocated to refineries, that is still the reality. And it says that many refineries have been abandoned due to the failure of oil producers to obey the domestic crude supply obligation. We learned that statement was made by a publicity secretary, Joseph Obele. The association said racketeering oil producers are involved with, and they are prioritized quick dollar earnings over the government's efforts to boost local refining capacity. We have you here. Can you shed more light on that? Because many persons know there is always a domestic quota that are supposed to be reserved for consumption in the country, but it seems Nigerians don't even know what is going on. Can you shed more light on that, sir?
Well, the reality is that there is a 500,000 barrels per day domestic consumption quota that is scheduled, for in-country refining for a long time. But as you know, none of the refineries was working for so long, and so those 500,000 barrels per day was certainly not being used for domestic consumption. But however, today we have refineries that are up and running, and come to think about it, the 500,000 barrels per day by itself is no longer sufficient to make to make the refineries to be efficient. So PETROAN is not accusing anybody of stealing the product, but we are saying that quantity of crude oil should now be effectively reserved. And we commend the federal government for banning of any export of those quota. And that's what I would like to clarify. That we are commending the government. Mr. Kumolafe, who is the CCE of NUPRIC that is responsible for these exports, has wielded his big stick that Nigeria must be first before any other thing. And that is what we're commending him for, and commending the federal government. And we stand by that. that we support the government to ensure that those 500,000 barrels per day should be kept in country and should in fact be increased. Because right now, our projected in-country refining capacity should be about 1 million barrels per day. And so we should look for how we can provide for that. So we thank the federal government for taking that position.
All right. You have said your association, and of course you are the leader, you are not alleging or you are not accusing anybody of stealing, but the word used was diverted. Who are the ones diverting it, and where are they diverting it to?
Well, clearly there has been no refining capacity in country. So obviously the 500,000 barrels was taken somewhere else. And the producers will certainly know about how it worked. And this has been ongoing on for tens of years. So, but for the NUPRI to come up with a big stick and say, look, going forward, you can no longer export that quantity. That is what we are commending.
All right. Are you saying, just to be categorical, that these that we are talking about, the diversion of these petroleum products, 500,000 barrels per day that's supposed to be reserved for domestic consumption, this diversion used to happen in the past when we had no local refineries working, and that it has stopped now? Is that where we are?
Well, I will not say it has stopped because we need to hear back from the NUPRIC boss to know if there are any more infringements. But I mean, the big stick has been wielded and it must be obeyed. I believe that the focus of the federal government is Nigeria first. So that we commend a great deal. And yes, the in-country production quota should be kept and should no longer be exported. And that's what we're commending the federal government for.
Right.
Okay, Doctor, some time ago we had this information that the association preferred to import fuel than to buy from Dangote refinery. How is that situation right now?
Well, that was at the time that we were not having any clarity as to working with the refinery at that time. But Dangote refinery and PETROAN has gone very far. We've already started buying from Dangote, and we very much, commend them for their willingness to do business with us, and also to work out some more, beneficial terms, which we need to still step up to Dangote's request and requirements, which we have to give to them. So right now, we completely stand against any kind of importation of PMS, at least. If they want to import AGO and others, that's okay. But PMS, let us focus on how we can grow Nigeria. And we all know that we all come to understand the importance of PMS in Nigeria's economic sphere. So let us, as retail outlet owners, as marketers, ensure that we patronize the in-country refining companies that are already up and running. NNPC is leading the way by also providing crude oil to Dangote. Dangote, the biggest refinery in Africa, in fact, even in the world today. Very, very glad to have that happening in my time, and I like to see these kind of innovations coming from Nigerians to lead the world. So we do not encourage our members at this time to import, and we are not doing that right now.
So you say you don't encourage your members to import. So do we have enough right now on ground?
Well, NNPC is producing almost about 185,000 barrels per day. Dangote is running at some optimal, not optimally, but some percentage that is producing PMS in Nigeria. And right now, with the distribution arrangement between Dangote, MRS, and PETROAN, and other sister organizations, I believe that PMS is no longer an issue of scarcity, you know. So it's a very good development, and as a reasonable organization, we want to encourage that on a consistent basis.
Okay, PMS is now, like you said, PMS is there, we have it. But how about the pricing? Nigerians naturally will think that somehow it should have dropped below what it is currently. What can you say about the pricing?
Well, the pricing, like I have always posited, the first concern we should have is availability of the product. Now the product is being available, is consistently being streamed into the market. And you can see the price competition that's already going on, that's good to the advantage of Nigerians. It's similar thing that happened when MTN and all the other companies were working. MTN was a monopoly at the time. Then we had the Airtel progenitors came up, and then Glo came in and shattered the ceiling and gave us, you know, per second billing. So the dynamics will be the same. With the availability of petroleum products, you can see the prices are simmering down, and affordability is daily becoming the issue, and Nigerians are getting the best for it. But I do not want to encourage us as Nigerians to anticipate that petroleum products will be sold below the production costs. Because the moment we are not making profit, then the business cannot grow. So we also have to be reasonable and expect reasonably that businesses must have to thrive on efficiency and profit. So right now it's much more lower than what it was before. So we are going down. We are going down the lane, and the forces of demand and supply are setting in. So that certainly will be the play going forward, with the products being available at all times.
All right. And, you know, quickly, talking about petroleum product importation, in this case PMS, there was a report, especially published by one of the national dailies, that the NNPCL and select marketers spent over 5.5 trillion naira on the importation of PMS and diesel between October 1, 2024 and January 31, 2025. January 31 is like 8 days ago. And that the management of Dangote Refinery, they are currently in court with NMDPRA, that the NNPC and other oil marketers should be compelled, and even the regulator should please make the regulation that they should stop importing licenses for fair import despite in-country sufficiency. And that in the last 4 months, that report was from October 2024 to January 31, 8 days ago, 2025. Fuel products, AGO and PMS are still being imported. We are saying we are country sufficient. Why are marketers, NNPC, are still importing? And is it because of price? Is it cheaper? Or is it because it's better? Because Dangote have come out to say his company is producing one of the best qualities in the world. And, you know, he's available. There was a time that he said he had almost 500 million liters in his kitty. What is really going on?
As you can see, I have earlier, you know, posited that importation should be discouraged. But if imports have been placed and payments have been made, you are not going to cancel those. And we have to just let those trades happen, you know, get completed. But the fact that there are new importation orders is what we as an association will also encourage every one of us to review and to, you know, compare what it is. And I think Dangote is also working hard to ensure that the price competition values favors him and also favors Nigerians. So it's a deregulated economy, for crying out loud. And we need to understand that in a fully deregulated sector, every source of petroleum product is to be explored. But we, under the leadership of NNPC, in a stakeholder decision, decided that we are not going to engage in imports forthwith. But the products that were being imported before that decision will not be turned back because the trade cycle just has to be completed. I think that's just what is going on, to my view.
And recently, in the last 1-2 months, we've had fluctuations. Just before the Yuletide, we had some measure of, downward review, 1,000 naira to 980, 970, 950. Some even so 930. Later, after the new year, it picked up 930, 980. And some have said maybe the international dimension, to crude oil is responsible for that. When the price goes up at the international market, it has a way of affecting the local market as well. But Nigerians want to know, and I want you to clarify with us. We know we have a limited time with you, but kindly do this with us. Now, we understand what happens at the international market. Average Nigerian, somebody in Sapele, somebody in Lagos, somebody in Sokoto, want to say, how does it affect us here? We have local refineries. We are told 2 of our national refineries are working in some capacities. Now, Dangote is another big refinery that is working optimally. We are told they have ramped up their production to 550,000 barrels per day. Now, how must that affect us there? And we have local, our domestic quota that we are supposed to have. What goes on in Russia, in Saudi Arabia, at the Middle East? Why should it affect something going on, the price of product in Oshobo, in Akure? Can you please shed light into that for us?
Well, crude oil pricing is an international affair. The local authorities can only do what is minimally possible, but you always know that the exchange rate will always be the same. And if the Naira performs very well and crashes down on the dollar, that's going to be something that will certainly help Nigerians. The crude oil is in a global market, is in a global space. And I dare call it a global village where every activity that happens in one country impacts on the other. So the price of the feedstock, which is crude oil, it will always determine the outcome and the input pricing that will be computed when the out-ton barrels and sales are analyzed. So the pricing will always be affected by these international events, and that has come to stay. The only thing PETROAN advocates is that Nigeria should think out of the box and come up with solutions on how we can make our local productions affordable and therefore give crude oil to the local refineries to work optimally.
Exactly, Dr. Gilles Harry. I had to explain that to you as a Nigerian so that you give us the feedback as an average Nigerian as well. Even if when you are a professional, you mentioned forex. Somebody will say how and when the dollar come into the conversation. The thing is gotten from the south, is refined here in Nigeria, it's distributed locally in Nigeria. There is no issue of logistics, the vessel carrying it out of the country, importation, and all of those things, and forex. How come we are still talking about dollar in this conversation here?
There's dollar involved. The downstream industry is dependent on the upstream, and everything that's been done in the upstream is dollar denominated. And we're only just exchanging Naira for the dollar in every production process, distribution process.
Yeah, sorry to butt in, sir. The Naira for crude policy of the government, has it not taken place? How come there is no result yet?
No, but it's taking place. That is why you can see that Dangote and even the Nigerian refineries, the NNPC refineries are paying for this feedstock in Nigerian naira. So what it does is it does not impact on our foreign exchange position.
How come we don't have it? Yeah, exactly the same thing. How come we don't have a significant reduction?
You must still convert the dollar. You must still convert the naira to the dollar equivalent of the day. That is what it is. So yes, we're paying naira for it, but it's still dollarized, you know? So that is what it is.
That policy of naira for crude, what was it supposed to achieve in the first place?
Well, the first thing it will achieve is that it reduces the pressure of the forex demand, you know, by the refinery. If you look at our foreign exchange expenditure, you see the profile for petroleum product import is the highest. So now, with crude oil being sold to the refineries here, the chances are that the forex that we have, the reserve that we have, will not be touched, while the exchange for the naira, the exchange for the transaction will be done here locally with the Nigerian naira that is being produced and printed here.
So you are saying
that is the major relief on the Nigerian naira.
Dr. Gibbs Harry. So you are saying it's not essentially for price reduction.
Well, it also affects the price reduction, because if you think about it in this way. You are not going to be looking for dollar to pay for the crude oil. You are going to pay Nigerian naira for it. So the ease with which you can borrow naira from the bank and pay naira will be faster than you borrowing naira to go and look for dollar. So there is so much benefit. And it's also impacting in our pricing.
Doctor, with all you've said about the naira and the dollar, I'm sure most Nigerians would still be wondering how the dollar is supposed to be affecting us, considering that we're producing the oil here, just like Femi said. But then you said something earlier when you were talking. You said that with time, just like the telecommunication sector, that the price is going to crash. How much time are we looking at right now if we're to project?
It's difficult to do an up-year projection on that, but it's simple to understand that demand and the forces of supply, actually the force of demand and the supply availability will determine pricing in no distant time. Right now, the fluctuations are clearly not dependent on the demand, the demand situation. The production factors that the refiners compute to say this is what is going to be reasonable. I think that's what's playing out now. But shortly, Nigeria's demand structure will determine how the supply will be. And then if the supply is adequate and consistent, obviously prices will be affected positively to favor Nigerians.
All right. Okay. And I just want to see that because in the last 2 months or thereabout, the lowest that we've had as price for PMS has been at 930 naira. And, you know, that wasn't even long. Is that the best we can do at this time, Dr. Gibbs Harry?
At this time, in my opinion, that pricing is not bad for now. But you can see it's coming down from 1,000 plus to 900 plus. And if there are shifts in the production factors, obviously it's also going to still come down. But in this deregulated economy, you should brace your mind to expect when prices will go up for justifiable reasons, and when prices will also come down for justifiable reasons.
Let me take this
that's what the play is going to be.
Yeah, let me take this as your parting share because I understand you have to run now. The issue of fuel theft, oil theft, it's like we are helpless since time immemorial, from one democracy to another, one administration to another, since the time of, the amnesty at the South, even to 2025. We are still hearing. Recently, we learned Nigeria from 1999 has made almost $860 billion from fuel, while we have lost almost $701 billion to oil theft. When we say that as being penny wise, pound foolish, are we helpless in this issue of oil theft? Because the kind of theft we are talking about is not like a pen that somebody can steal. It's not like a book that somebody can steal. We are talking about heavy vessel on the high sea. Are we helpless? And who are these people?
I have only one recommendation to make. If we think that protecting our oil and gas facilities, and indeed even our other solid minerals like gold, bauxite, tantalum, lithium, everything is a joke, then we are just setting our country up to fail. We must look for money to protect our national assets. I don't think that this idea of just using some kind of manual method of pursuing how to prevent oil theft is going to work. What I think we should do, we should invest heavily in protecting our national assets. We should invest in technology, invest in human resource capacity, and ensure that our economy is buoyant to stop people from thinking of such high levels of criminality. And we should do that not just only for crude oil, we should do it for gold, we should do it in the whole country, so that we can have adequate income to run our nation.
Exactly.
So that's all I can say for now.
Yeah, I understand. And I will have asked, do you think we have the willpower, successive administration up to now? Because one will say, if there is a government that is willing, we have more than enough to desecrate these people, to make them redundant, and to secure our assets. Do you think we have enough willpower to do that?
If we had a president who can stop subsidy, we can also have a president who can rule out a policy to invest an average of $10 to $15 billion over the course of time to secure the whole country. Do
you think President Tinubu is that president?
I think he is. Because something inside of my mind tells me that this president will change the narrative for Nigeria.
All right. We have been speaking with Dr. Billy Gill Ari. He is the PETROAN boss. Thank you very much. And we appreciate you for taking time to do this with us.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's a very good place to leave it. And it's very important.
Yeah.
The conversation around oil theft, every now and then, every government, every administration talks about it. This administration is talking about it again. And it will look like those guys that are stealing this fuel in whatever form, either from the ground or from the vessel or on the IC or whatever, are they spirits that descends from the sky, do whatever they want to do? Can a spirit even disappear with a large vessel? It can't.
The truth is, just like we're combating terrorism, it's the same way we are fighting this. And some experts will say that we have actually not looked into this. We have not brought out our all to actually fight or combat these things.
Yeah, that's why I talked about the willpower.
Yeah, because it feels like they're just letting them go away with what they're doing. They're just overlooking.
Who are they? Because many persons have even alleged to say maybe some bad elements in the security formations are part of it. Yeah. And you might want to agree, because if there are no collusion, these things are not easily done.
Of course. The way they move in, troop in, and do whatever they want to do, and then disappear and leave.
Loaded vessels, it's... if you've seen an oil vessel before, it's not just one yacht or one speedboat somewhere.
It definitely
they are heavy, and either in whatever form, either it's been rolled into barrels and put into trailers or whatever. We know those things happened in the terrestrial, and people know who they are. But it seems we are helpless. Always keep seeing his figure. We hope something better will be done. We go on this quick break. I told you it's quite a dynamic one this morning, and by the time we return, we head straight into the papers. We have a lot to unpack this morning. It's still Morning Spring. You are the right place, where we say it as it is. We'll be back.